Welcome back to Quickie Wiki What. I'm Joseph, joined as usual by my partner Justin. Every episode, we each bring to the table a Wikipedia article we found interesting and attempt to explain our articles to one another. We are streaming this episode live on Twitch. Hello to the chat. But you'll also be able to find the VOD on YouTube afterwards, as well as the audio wherever you get your podcasts. So let's get into it. Hello, Justin.
Hey, everybody.
We're back from a 2-week break.
We are.
It's Pride.
It's Pride. We've been doing some Pride stuff.
You ran the Pride 5K.
I ran a Pride 5K.
I cheered you on.
You did.
I got a really nice picture of Justin crossing the finish line. It was great.
It was nice. It was in the cemetery.
It was in the Congressional Cemetery. I very much appreciated the seating and the shade.
There's a shade, and then if you don't feel like finishing, you just go in a plot.
They do still have some.
They have some available.
It's an active cemetery.
Yeah.
And we went to Pride on Sunday. The festival. And then we're planning on going to, we have tickets to the Washington Nationals Pride.
Night out at the Nats.
Pride night out at the Nats.
Tonight is the dog night.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Oh. Piggy would hate it.
He would hate it.
He would hate it. Anyway, how are you? I say, how are you? Like I haven't lived with you and slept next to you for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
How are you?
Well, I'm good.
Anything to show news?
So, show news. Oh my goodness. So, we got a couple of so the last episode we did before going on break was hot dogs. Now, hot dogs are made and all that good stuff. That one did pretty well. I think a couple people sent this over. This was on May 30th, right before Memorial Day. Tractor trailer crash sends 15,000 pounds of hot dog filler onto Pennsylvania highway. And they have a picture of it. And it doesn't look very good. You don't think you'd want to go. Yeah.
This was tweeted to us.
Yeah.
By a viewer, a listener. I don't remember who because I didn't save it. But I remember seeing the picture of wet pink slop on the side of the highway. And it did not look great. But it would have been a good like if we had images to put up in this podcast.
Yeah.
It would have been a good header for that one.
Yeah. But we're fans of the audio. We're not going to discriminate. We're not going to give the viewers any kind of special treats aside from just seeing us and our eye rolls that we do occasionally.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to see, I love it when people watch us live. That's great. So I have a couple visuals, unnecessary visuals today.
Oh my goodness.
But they will be described to you in great detail. And you will not be missing out. You can also Google the images as well.
Yeah.
But
the other thing is it was a suggestion that is kind of my mom had.
Who's watching?
She's probably she and me and my dad too.
I saw her in the chat earlier.
Okay, good. Well, a catchphrase.
For us?
A catchphrase. Yeah, we need to have something. And so if you know the thing about a catchphrase, it should be funny. And who better to come up with one than me?
I think it should be from what's that Lisa Kudrow show?
Oh,
the Comeback.
Comeback. Yeah.
I don't want to see that.
I don't want to hear that.
I don't want to hear that.
Wow, that would be good.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, and it was kind of, my mom suggested it a little bit like this, but I changed it. Mine is you say something that's kind of interesting.
That's hard. Here's something that I never get you to be interested in, so now's my chance, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I love collecting Tamagotchis. I have a lot of Tamagotchis. Do you want to see my Tamagotchis?
That's a question.
These are cool Tamagotchis.
Quickie Wiki, what?
That's
it. That's what you
That's just the title of the show.
I know, but it's like when you say Quickie Wiki, what?
Like when something's wild.
When something's wild and
did
wacky.
you hear that penguins fuck up to 50 times a day?
Quickie Wiki, what?
Okay, that works better.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll leave that to you. And we do technically have access to a soundboard.
Oh, there you go.
But you're not wearing headphones,
I
don't want to just insert these sounds into your stories without
me knowing
Yeah.
how you're offending me.
I want to
How
get
specifically I'm being like made fun of and mocked.
I want to get like a fart sound and just hit the fart sound while you're talking or whenever you pause.
No, yeah. Well,
you pause to fart.
I have a muffler on my chair, so the real ones aren't going to even if I
your chair.
Yeah.
We got free Herman Miller Aeron chairs from Justin's work was moving and gave them away to us. I mentioned this in another stream. And allegedly, the one I'm sitting in, the Herman Miller Aeron chair, magnifies your farts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we got them.
Because it goes through the mesh, hits the mechanism, and bounces it around the room.
Yeah.
Acoustically.
But then
You're sitting on two different pads in that chair.
It dissipates it faster, too, from a smell.
And whereas the chair you're in absorbs it.
That's right. So yours blasts it and kind of dilutes it really quick.
Maybe we should get started.
Let's get started.
Oh, wait. There's the sound effect. You'll get to hear these when you re-listen to it later.
I listen to it afterwards.
Okay, so I'm going to go first this week. And my subject is, if you've read the title, the Tamagotchi Effect. Justin will be next, and his is
Wonder Woman. And I'll give it a quick little teaser.
Yeah.
That Wonder Woman, this is not like her comic book origin story, but some of kind of the people that came up with Wonder Woman, what they were trying to accomplish, what some of their kind of personal history is. And then it's really interesting. It's going back to the 40s and kind of some women's rights stuff. Wonder Woman is a kind of a big LGBTQ people, we gays love our Wonder Woman, and so good pride. I thought it would be a good pride topic.
Oh, nice. I'm excited to hear. But first, I'm excited to talk.
Yeah.
So, one of my quarantine hobbies has been collecting Tamagotchis. Justin knows this. He doesn't quite know the extent of it because sometimes the packages arrive when he's not at home. However, I didn't want to straight up do Tamagotchis. It's been suggested before, but I could talk about Tamagotchis for days. There's dozens of different kinds. There's rare ones. The hunt is always on. It's really fun. But I found this thing called the Tamagotchi Effect. There's a Wikipedia page on it. It is called the Tamagotchi Effect. I don't know how... This Wikipedia article is a little sketchy. We'll get into that. But according to the Wikipedia page, the Tamagotchi Effect is basically developing an emotional attachment with machines, robots, or software agents, things that don't have emotions. So, but first of all, we have to remember, what is a Tamagotchi?
Well, I wonder which one of us is best equipped.
Okay, so it's said to be the first ever virtual pet. I am wearing a Japanese P2 today, Tamagotchi from 96, 97. You can just look them up. Most people know what a Tamagotchi is. Created by Bandai, released in Japan initially in 96, in the USA in 97. According to Bandai, it's a mix of the words tamago for egg and uachi, watch, egg watch.
Okay.
You raise it. Depending on how you raise it, you get different characters. There's a lot of iterations. Some of them have their own catch, like you breed your characters together to get different evolutions, or there's different games, etc.
But for someone who doesn't even know what it is, it's a little screen.
Little screen, there's 3 buttons. You feed it, you clean up its poop, you keep it alive, essentially. Did you ever have a Tamagotchi or any virtual pet?
No, that was a little bit past. I remember my cousins are 10 plus years younger than me, and I remember them having them. But I was probably in high school when they were
97. So I was 9.
Yep.
I was at exactly the age they were marketed to at the time. And it kicked off a really big virtual pets fad. So I had Gigapets, I had Nano Pets, there was Dinky Dino, which I didn't have, but I knew someone who did, and I was jealous. Pocket Pikachu was like a pedometer version. And there's also just tons and tons of undocumented, weird off-brand virtual pets that were released in Japan, in the US, in so many countries. And there's a big community of people who like collect all the weird ones as well. And they really resonated with kids. It was kind of the first ever virtual, thing that needed you almost.
Yeah.
There were consequences for not raising it.
It was this thing called, I didn't have one, but I kind of wanted one. It was called My Buddy. And it was just this kind of kid that was like, it was like a doll that was.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like your friend. And it was marketed as being, wherever I go, he goes, my buddy, my buddy.
There's the copyright strike.
Yeah. But it was just kind of like, are you really lonely? Then they would be like, you should get this doll will be your friend and play with you and do whatever.
Did it talk? Did it have batteries?
No, it didn't talk.
Oh, okay.
It was just.
So we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Because that's similar. There's like a similar situation with non-electrical things as well.
Mm-hmm.
But with Tamagotchis came the controversy. Kids took them to school.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember this very well. The first 2 generations of Tamagotchi, the P1 and the P2, they did not have a pause function. You could technically pause the clock, but a lot of people didn't for whatever reason. Kids didn't want them to die. They'd leave them with their parents while they were at school, or they would get taken away in school. And basically, tons of Tamagotchis were dying from neglect. Not being played with, not being fed. Now, according to Bandai, and this is a little bit true, we'll get into this. It doesn't technically die, it goes back to its home planet. So there's Tamagotchi lore. They technically come to our planet to be taken care of. Depending on the release of the Tamagotchi, it's got different lore associated with it. It's deep, Justin.
Yeah. Well, you were telling me that's the US version, right?
The US version P1 turns into an angel and is among the stars. The smiling angel. So it's an angel and going back to its home planet. The P2, it takes it a step further. It doesn't show an angel. It just shows a UFO among the stars. It's left. It's gone. Now, this past week, so while we were off, I was racing my Japanese P2. And I was trying to do some skillful neglect to get a certain character that I wanted. And I guess I took it too far. They're very touchy. The earlier ones are a little bit touchy. And I was sitting on the couch and it beeps for so long. And it's like very shocking. The screen turns black. There's incredibly loud beeping. And in the Japanese version, which I was running, Tombstone and Ghost.
Wow.
Death. So these kids, the kids in Japan were seeing the death.
That is
straight up death.
That is grim.
I mean, I guess, but it's on a screen. It was a little jarring because I just wasn't really expecting mine to die.
Well, wouldn't you say it was kind of like this, help, see? But there's nothing you can do at that point. It's kind of like
you can't push the buttons. You can't make it go away.
Yeah.
You have to watch it die. So I did find
because of something you did.
Well, yeah, it's consequences.
Yeah.
Or didn't do.
Yeah.
So I found a New York Times archived article from 97 that discussed the alleged devastation children were experiencing when their Tamagotchis expired. I also found an old website from the late 90s, I believe, it looks like, where people could submit obituaries for their Tamagotchis.
Wow, like a pet cemetery for Tamagotchis?
Yes, you list their death, their age, you write a little something about them, and they would update it in like a table format. It's like an old angel file or tripod Do you remember tripod
Well, I
websites?
remember. I'm Prodigy. That was what I remember.
I don't remember.
Prodigy.
I remember Homestead.
Uh,
I think was a Yahoo. I don't remember. But kids are raising this thing from an egg. They're pouring their time into it, and then essentially grieving a week or two later when it dies, because they don't live past like 30 days if you take super good care of it.
That's interesting because, like, think about how often Mario dies. Like it's expected, but
you don't raise Mario.
I guess, yeah.
You're not there when he's
You're
born.
not there to
You're
say.
not in charge of feeding him.
Yeah.
Cleaning his ass.
And some, like a Goomba usually kills. Usually, maybe he jumps, so he's trying to jump over, but it's not like Mario. It's not, well, like The Sims,
Well, and he starts back exactly how he was.
Yeah.
It's not like he dies and it has to be raised again.
Yeah.
It's a time sink.
Mm.
Now, onto the actual page about the Tamagotchi effect. There is a stub at the beginning of this page, and honestly, the sources on the Tamagotchi Effect Wikipedia page I did not find great. It even says this article is written like a personal reflection, personal essay, or argumentative essay that states a Wikipedia editor's personal feelings or presents an original argument about a topic. And it honestly is. It's kind of written like a personal essay. It's full of uncited claims, and some of the sources I found to be books from before 1996, which is when Tamagotchis came out. So they were writing about like early computers and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure how common the phrase Tamagotchi effect actually is among researchers of this phenomena. Like I found several websites that talked about the Tamagotchi effect, but no like research kind of things. So we're going to get into it. The whole effect isn't about whether or not the item is actually intelligent, but what it evokes in us, essentially. So when you care for something and it does well, people can perceive that object as intelligent. So you raise something, it responds to how you raise it, you perceive intelligence, essentially. So this is uncited on the wiki, but I think I found the source. Apparently research was done with this on Furbies. Remember Furby?
Oh, yes.
We have a few in this house.
Piggy remembers.
We have a few. Furby came out in 1998, so after Tamagotchi. If you don't know what a Furby is, it's like a stuffed animal that talks, blinks, you can tickle it, you can pet it, it talks back to you.
It's in its own language, though. Isn't it?
Yes, but it does speak English as well.
Okay.
So children said that Furbies were kind of alive because of their emotional attachment to it. They apparently answer, quote, the children apparently answered, quote, not in terms of what the Furby can do, but how they feel about the Furby and how the Furby might feel about them. So I found a source online similar to this in Sherry Turkle's 2011 book, which is called Alone Together, Why We Expect More from Technology and Less from Each Other. I believe it was written, 2011, 2012. And she says, as I have said, my story of this moment is not so much about advances in technology, impressive though these have been. Rather, I call attention to our strong response to the relatively little that sociable robots offer, fueled, it would seem, by our fond hope that they will offer more. With each new robot, there is a ramp up in our expectations. I find us vulnerable, a vulnerability, I believe, not without risk. So Dr. Turkle discusses the Furby instruction manual as an example. In it, it claims that Furbies are learning more English the more you talk to them.
Okay.
Which Furbies don't have hearing or language learning ability. It's in the programming.
Yeah.
The longer it's on, the more English it's going to say. And then it says, quote, but until age 8, children are convinced by the illusion and believe they are teaching their Furbies to speak. The Furbies are alive enough to need them. And then it talks about how these things are not passive, like dolls or stuffed animals. They make demands. They present as having their own needs and inner lives. They teach us the rituals of love that will make them thrive. For decades, computers have asked us to think with them. These days, computers and robots deemed sociable, effective, and relational ask us to feel for and with them.
Wow. Well, does it say anything about someone that, say, like, dissects their Furby?
There may or may not be a video of me on YouTube spending 2 hours taking a Furby apart. I used to have a Furby that I did like humor videos about.
Yeah.
I pretended it was my daughter, and I would like leave it in the car with the windows rolled up and stuff like that. But that was as an adult, which is perfectly normal.
Yeah.
So this brings a new category of relationship as not alive, but sort of alive. Or alive, but in a different way.
Where you hope part of you hopes it is. Or
as far as children go, they think it's kind of alive.
Yeah.
Now I found that it was claimed that Tamagotchi helped set off this view of artificial beings that are viewed as friends, but there have been many before it. So baby dolls that make human sounds. Do you know Aibo, the dog?
Oh, where they give it to like older people or that.
I mean, anyone can buy an Aibo. It's I think Sony, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are Buddhist funeral ceremonies for Aibo. Like you can go to a temple and have like a funeral for your Aibo because they stopped making the parts for them, so the older ones are dying. Chatbots, computers. I saw someone who was attached to their car key fobs based on the sound that they make, had an emotional attachment, and cell phones. Do you have any attachments to any social robots? Google Home.
Well, Google Home, I guess. Yeah, I kind of talk to it. We kind of joke around with it.
Google Home will tell you a joke.
And I'll tell it a joke.
What does Google think about that?
I think it likes my jokes.
So how would you would describe your Google as kind of alive?
I definitely don't think it's alive, but there is something interesting about like saying please and just the politeness and kind of the extra, and I think
courtesy.
Yeah, being kind of courteous and much like I kind of get someone having a funeral for their robot dog or something like that.
Yeah,
because
if it's been with you for years.
And because even real funerals aren't for the people that are dead,
Right.
It's for the people that are alive and to help you, the living people, process that transition. And so I think in a way that saying please and thank you to Google Home is kind of it's not, but it's kind of like, okay, I need to keep myself polite. I'm a polite person, so even a robot I'm going to be polite to.
So you're saying it's more for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds selfish.
And very, very selfish.
So what are the consequences of the Tamagotchi effect? The
murders?
Murders?
Yeah.
Digital
murders.
Boy,
well.
The Wikipedia page really doesn't delve too much into this. It lists some advantages and disadvantages. Advantages being, quote, sense of security and self-confidence. People who have trouble being social or communicating may find companionship in these devices. Disadvantages, over-reliance on these things for emotional needs. The movie Her.
Yeah. I was gonna talk about that. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, Scarlett Johansson and Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Falls in love with the operating system.
Yep.
One of the other disadvantages says trouble distinguishing fantasy from reality. I don't really buy that one because that argument to me sounds like video games make you violent, which there's proof it doesn't. But then also companies know about this, corporations, and they use it to exploit emotional ties between you and their products so that you'll stay their customer forever.
Yeah.
So there it is.
That is
My
the
main
Tamagotchi effect.
That's the Tamagotchi effect. My main takeaway was the Wikipedia page on this needs an overhaul with some source updates. And if you're interested, do some Googling because I found really good information elsewhere. I do plan on reading that book Alone Together by Sherry Turkle. It looked really interesting. And I think she also did a TED Talk about it.
Oh, well, there
too.
you go.
She's a professor, has a PhD in sociology and personality psychology from Harvard. And she's got other books focusing on human technology relationships. But Quickie Wiki is a diving board for you to jump off into learning more.
That's right.
We're here to get you interested.
Get you interested. It's Quickie Wiki what, not Longy Wongy what.
It sure ain't. It sure ain't.
That will be the follow-up podcast.
I think it's like, I am not totally sure I ever really had that sort of attachment to my Tamagotchis. I don't know why. I viewed them more as like a challenge. Like, because I remember I had the Tamagotchi. The main one I remember was the Angel Gotchi, the Tamagotchi Angel. And I remember it did die while I was at the orthodontist. And I don't know. I never felt, I don't remember being super affected by it. Because it's kind of like a game. It's kind of like a try to get your favorite character.
Yeah.
You know?
But and I was thinking like Tamagotchis aren't the first things that kids have had emotional attachments to, you know?
No.
Yeah, blankets.
But there are differences there. The blanket doesn't ask anything of you.
But I think that the you know, if you lose it, the kid freaks out. You know, it's right. It's there to take. They are kind of taking care of something. They have an attachment to it. They feel responsible, or
I think it's different when the thing actually presents itself as alive, whether or not it is. Obviously, it's not in technology. But when you continue adding, like, in order to continue playing with this, you have to keep it alive. Like, I read part of like chapter 2 of Dr. Turkle's book, and she mentions like going to a school with a lot of younger kids, giving them all Furbies, and turning on a tape recorder and just recording what they say about it, you know, and they talk about them as if they are living
like a dog or
creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they are, oh, mine needs this. Like, oh, mine needs some shade. Mine needs to be fed right now. Mine needs this. Oh, it's alive. It loves me. You know, it's like the blanket isn't going to say I love you. The Furby actually does say I love you.
Yeah.
It is programmed to.
But so I'll tell a story about my personal experience.
Okay.
I was probably like, I don't know, 6 years old or something like that. And we just had the kitchen renovated. And my mom came in. I was sitting on the kitchen floor and crying. And she's like, Justin, what's wrong? And I said, I miss the old linoleum because we replaced it. I had an emotional attachment to the linoleum.
Wiki wiki what? Let's just say that's sad. Sad for you. Sad for you, first of all. Sad for you. But I don't think you can compare. I think there's a very distinguishable, like I used to leave my stuffed animals in pairs when we left the house, so they'd have someone to sit next to. Yes, stuff like that. But I think there is a very strong difference between a stuffed animal that doesn't do anything back and something like a Tamagotchi or a Furby that is communicating with you back.
You think
somehow.
It's maybe more nefarious for the Tamagotchi?
I don't think it's nefarious. I mean, I think someone needs to sit the kid down and explain to him. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a parent, and I never will be, and I'm glad. But I think that, those are lessons a kid's got to learn somehow, I guess. I don't know. Your goldfish dies. Your Tamagotchi dies. I think you should. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if there is. We're not trying to figure one out. It's just something that is.
Yeah. Even Piggy.
It's not scarring the kids. Those kids are all my age now, and well, I mean, we're pretty fucked up.
But everyone's fucked up.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the Tamagotchi effect.
The Tamagotchi effect. Well, Piggy has his banana man. Piggy's alive.
Do you know that?
But Piggy has his banana man. He has all of his toys that he freaks out.
It is interesting. I do genuinely think Piggy thinks his stuffed animals are alive.
He wants
when we make them talk.
We have to tuck in Banana Man into the bed every night. And otherwise Piggy will go get it and bring the stuffed animal in.
Piggy has a stuffed banana. We have to physically tuck into our bed every evening, or else he will get up before bedtime out of the bed and go find it and bring it for us to tuck in.
Bring it into the bed.
Banana Man. It's his boyfriend.
Not into our bed. Not into like up by where we sleep, but at the foot of the bed.
At the foot of the bed.
Banana Man has to be kind of within eyesight.
He's got to be tucked in.
Yeah. Oh, Piggy. All right. Well,
he's a sweetie.
He sure is.
Well, I'm excited to learn about the wonders of Wonder Woman.
The wonders of Wonder. Well, we were talking about it a little bit, but I don't know. Were you like a comic book?
I was a manga kid, so I read which is Japanese comics. But no, I was never a superhero. I watched the superhero cartoons, X-Men, the animated series, Batman, the animated series, but I didn't read the comic books.
Yeah. We had my version of, the X-Men and Batman there's a show called Super Friends, and that was kind of the Justice League, Batman, Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman. They all worked at the Hall of Justice and like fought Lex Luthor, the Joker, and all that stuff. And Wonder Woman was one of the big three. It was kind of like Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman were kind of the three top dogs and so I'd always kind of like known Wonder Woman. I was always like a Batman. I definitely liked Robin. Robin was probably my favorite superhero growing up.
In the campy movies?
In all of it. Because Robin was just like, I don't know. Robin was like the cool sidekick, Batman, great shorts.
Sure, we know. You like twinks. You got me. I know. Yeah. I know. But
I
have a Robin. Well, I did have a Robin outfit.
Me too.
I used it to I used the leg of it to stretch over my body to be Peter Pan.
Oh, well, there you go.
Continue.
But Wonder Woman, interestingly, has really gone through a lot of, Batman. I think his origin story is kind of tweaked a little bit. Superman has always been like from, Krypton. Wonder Woman's story has been reinvented pretty significantly, like 4 or 5 times over the past, over the years, and it's had some interesting, she lost all her powers at some point, and it was kind of at like a not great like time in women's rights, and so her like gaining and losing power and things like that, and her place in the DC Comics universe. Sometimes tracks some history things. I'm not going to really talk about that, and I am not an expert on that, and I didn't even read. I just something that I thought was really interesting based off of like the Wikipedia article.
That's like Barbie. She started facing forward during like women's lib. Like the original Barbie looks off to the side.
Oh,
she was like looking forward. I know what I want.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that.
I think that's around the time. I heard Trixie Mattel say it. She's my source for Barbie information.
Yeah. Well, so Wonder Woman got started in 1941. That's when she first appeared in a comic book. She had been kind of, they've talked about her and stuff like that before that. But around 1941, what the sitch was for women in the media in general and comics and TV and everything, they're always kind of the damsel in distress. The woman needs rescued. The woman is tied up on the train tracks and needs a man to come. But back then, that's all it was. Right. And so there was this guy, William Moulton Marston. He is credited with being he's definitely like the writer. The writer and the editor and the final person that liked writing about comic books. But his wife was a big, also helped. And then they were in like a polyamorous relationship. And the other woman that lived with them was also played a big role in kind of like the inspiration for the character of Wonder Woman. And I will mention that there is a book called The Secret History of Wonder Woman by Jill Lepore, and that came out around 2015. I remember hearing about that at the time, and it has a lot of what I do, like similar to what you were talking about. This is just barely scratching the surface. That book, I guess, gets into like a lot of his writings, more of their personal lives, and there's a lot of just, feminist and women's rights topics that really come up during that. So who are I'll call them the three kind of, I'll say, my opinion is kind of the three kind of co-creators, or at least responsible for the inspiration for Wonder Woman.
Okay.
So William Moulton Marston, he was a psychologist, and he famously invented the polygraph, and he was kind of like dealt with, or he played a role in inventing the polygraph, like, so the lie detector test, right?
So
one of Wonder Woman's powers, or her magical items that she uses, is the lasso of truth.
Oh, they could. If you're listening to this on Spotify, I did a really cool lasso move.
I thought you were holding an actual lasso. It was. Oh, is that the soundboard, or are you using your mouth to make those?
I'll get a lasso sound effect for next week. Whoa.
Yeah, that's my lasso sound effect.
Sounded like static.
Yeah. But so then, like I said, he was married to Elizabeth Holloway Marston. She was also a psychologist in her own right, and at the very least, she like helped him and co-created and co-invented the polygraph and helped him in that work. I believe she had kind of her own life and separate practice and things as a psychologist. But then also the Olive Byrne, who was the lady that lived with them, and this is in the 40s, so that was pretty scandalous, and I don't think it was well known at the time. I don't think they were kind of open about it. But Olive was kind of the physical inspiration for Wonder Woman, and also I guess she wore bracelets that were similar to Wonder Woman.
She was the first woman to wear bracelets.
But how he drew Wonder Woman was he used Olive's bracelets for the inspiration for Wonder Woman. And then she just kind of resembled Wonder Woman. But so William, and this was definitely like Elizabeth, his wife, is whispering a lot of these ideas in his ear and supporting him. But he, in general, sounds like a pretty like, feminist, woman, positive, force, because he was like, okay, that's kind of dumb. Women get a bad rap in the media, and it's kind of boring, and and disrespectful and inaccurate to be portraying them just as like damsels in distress, you know. And so a quote from him is, "Frankly, Wonder Woman is psychological propaganda for the new type of woman who I believe should rule the world." So that's like a pretty nice.
Yeah.
It sounds like he is coming from the right place, at least.
Sure.
So, but there's also so some of like Wonder Woman's strength and powers, he'd really highlighted, she's kind of like, like Superman. She has superhuman strength and speed and things like that, but also tried to her wisdom and her intelligence and emotional intelligence in particular was supposed to be one of her like biggest assets,
Oh, interesting. The only Wonder Woman, I never really knew much about Wonder Woman because so there was the old show with, who was that?
With Linda Carter.
And then Superman, I don't remember if there was a Superman series when I was little, but it was Batman. It was Batman everything. We had lots of Batman. But we didn't really have Wonder Woman and Superman. So my first Wonder Woman stuff was like the DC Wonder Woman movies. The second of which was just kind of awful.
No, I liked it. I thought it was good.
I thought it was. I hate that they keep bringing what's his dead face back. I'm over that. You die, you die.
Yeah.
And I liked the first one a lot.
Well, and even the second one, I think I'll do just like a quick spoiler alert, but she does defeat, she gets in a position where she's kind of like, helpless, and she, this is kind of like part of her superpower. She doesn't like kick his face to beat him. She talks to him.
Right.
And like gets him to be a human being and to think of, and to be
like violence as a last kind of resort.
Yeah. Or that there's other ways to solve problems, that is the heroic pinnacle of the movie isn't some fight. It is that speech. And that's kind of like the embodiment of what makes Wonder Woman, or at least that, that's kind of the concept that William and Elizabeth and Olive were going for.
Strong in different ways.
Right.
Not just physical.
So I wouldn't
call Batman strong emotionally.
And there was some, so there's interesting.
I wouldn't call him an emotional strength. Well,
but they're also, I
didn't see the latest one.
There's a lot of talk of gay comic book characters that are gay or embody certain gay attributes. And one thing about Wonder Woman is not necessarily, she is in some canonically bisexual, at least, or she has different from a gender perspective, in the sense like she is from the Amazon, right? And and it's all women.
Right.
So there are no gender roles. So there isn't like a male or a female, stereotypes that you have to follow. The women just do everything. And that's kind of, I think, a realistic, I don't know. I think that's an interesting part of her story. Yeah.
I think that what makes her appealing to a lot of LGBTQ plus people as well.
Yeah.
Just like the breaking down of the gender roles.
Yep. And then kind of in that same, I didn't really follow up on this, but that same article or one of those same, essays was talking about how Batman, because you mentioned Batman, he kind of embodies a lot of like that people think he's gay. Some people think
Batman?
Even though, yeah. But kind of in a negative.
That's straight nonsense.
Kind of in a negative
is
way.
What he's gay in a negative. You can't be gay in a negative way.
Well, he's not like out and proud. He's like a repressed.
Oh, like a repressed.
Like, and that he has like two personalities. And,
like he has what's it called when you're homophobic to yourself? You know.
Well, just self-loathing,
self-homophobia, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't claim that negative energy.
Well, but that's
what they say on TikTok. I don't claim that negative energy.
But that Batman is kind of like who he really is, and then Bruce Wayne is his kind of disguise in a lot of, and that's he dates women. He wants to project this thing to the world.
Internalized homophobia.
Internalized homophobia.
Thank you, Chat.
Okay, but we're not talking about,
my chat knows.
We're not talking about Batman on Wonder Woman's. So
unless it's to drag him.
Okay, yeah, we're not. But so
I am.
I was kind of inspired by reading this, and on Amazon you can go buy, there's different eras of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So they have like the golden, for like it's like $9. You can buy like it's like 20 or 30 issues from
cool.
from the original, very very early.
Get them on your Kindle.
You can get them on your Kindle. Just get them on. There's other places to buy them too. We're not sponsored by Amazon, but yet. But you can go read some of them.
I mean, Twitch is owned by Amazon.
I guess that's true. So with your free Audible download, but this wouldn't be that great for Audible.
So, have you read a lot of Wonder Woman?
Well, no, not and
not comic book wise.
Really, in the DC universe, all I ever did was Batman, and then I was really into X-Men for a while over in Marvel. So those were kind of like my two comic books.
As a kid, I don't think I knew the difference. I don't think that I knew what was coming from DC and what was coming from Marvel. I was just kind of like, I like X-Men. I like Batman. So it's weird to me when there's a I understand rivalries. They're always going to be there. Xbox versus PlayStation versus obviously PC Master Race. PC superiority versus DC and Marvel, etc. But yeah, I'll have to read more on Wonder Woman. I think that there's a lot of things about. Okay, so you said she was created in the combination of these three people, but created mostly by the guy?
Mostly by the guy, yeah, because it sounded like he was, it's not like was silencing the other two, but they just weren't interested in writing a comic book
weren't
necessarily.
Comic book.
Yeah.
There's there's different sides of everything. Like, there's some people see the fact that she wears heels as empowering, and some people see it as, oh, that's impractical. Why has she got to wear heels, to fight crime? And same with her outfit. Some people say that's impractical. And some people say that's liberating. So it's always interesting to, and I personally don't know if there's any consensus. I do know that, looking at a lot of women superheroes that are created by men, it does seem that there are, unnecessary, like when the Power Rangers movie came out, the new one, the women had boob plates, which are not it in a real world fighting situation. The boob plate is not going to do anything. It's there for aesthetic reasons, essentially. And they had heels built into their suits as well. And it's kind of like, what's going on here? Why is this happening? So, but yeah, it's interesting to look at it in the context of at that time as well. In the 40s.
Well, and so and seeing these, like Wonder Woman is definitely like today, like I saw an interesting, if they drew Batman like they drew Wonder Woman and like him like looking back over his shoulder and like having a giant ass and just kind of, these
which
weird...
Nightwing recently got, I believe. Nightwing's had some looking over the shoulder, showing that ass moments. But no, I know what you mean. A lot. I mean, I notice in video games that I play, like the camera will be centered lower if I'm playing as a woman on a third-person camera, so that the butt is the center of the screen rather than the shoulder or the middle of the back, which is supposed to be the center of the screen. So it's But
I think there's also like there's the quote about I think it's Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire, where they say, Ginger Rogers did everything Fred Astaire did, only backwards and in heels. And there's kind of like a woman can do everything a man can do and doesn't have to compromise how she wants to dress, how she wants to look,
right?
That kind of thing.
I think it comes down to, I mean, these are fictional characters. Is Wonder Woman can't wear heels because she wants to, because she's not real. She's wearing heels based on based on who she's made to be. Does that fit her character? Does that not fit her character? Would she... You know what I mean? It's about creating someone believable and whole that is doing that for that reason, other than a male creator wanted to see a woman with big boobs and heels.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not saying anything like that about Wonder Woman because I don't really know, that time. And
well, reading those comics from the 40s was very interesting. And I think I believe it's kind of like the first description of Wonder Woman, kind of like the first, because she didn't have her own comic right away. She was like featured in something else. So this is like how they introduce her.
Oh, okay.
I think. So at last, in a world torn by the hatreds and wars of men, appears a woman to whom the problems and feats of men are mere child's play. A woman whose identity is known to none, but whose sensational feats are outstanding in a fast-moving world. With 100 times the agility and strength of our best male athletes and strongest wrestlers, she appears as though from nowhere to avenge an injustice or right a wrong. As lovely as Aphrodite, as wise as Athena, with the speed of Mercury and with the strength of Hercules, she is known only as Wonder Woman. And
interesting.
And then it's also cool. So like talking about the heels, like they do show she's like running 80 miles an hour, and they don't make a point of it, but she's obviously wearing high heels. But I think in kind of an empowering, she's not looking sexy. She's just wearing heels and able to like, and this is after like she's like beats up a bunch of gangsters, but when she appears on the scene, they're like, don't worry, it's just a dame, that's what they're saying in the 40s. But then she just, easily handles them and blocks their bullets with her handcuffs and stuff, like her bracelets. So
very interesting.
Yeah. I'm definitely interested. I'd read about these, and that while there isn't, your point about kind of the sexualization to some degree, I've heard that there's a lot of like bondage, and that was maybe in Wonder Woman, because she gets the lassos. And
yes.
She gets tied up and stuff like that, and so
it's a lot of it is interesting to explore in the realm of intentions. Who's writing it? What are they writing it for? What are they writing to see? Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that can be viewed both ways.
Yeah.
Depending, but I feel like it all really goes back to who's writing it, what their intent is, what the character's intent is, stuff like that.
But I give the, the Wonder Woman. It's not overtly. I think it was a good sentiment even by today's standards.
Oh, I mean, I'm totally glad she was created.
And
yeah,
I'm
badass.
really interested. Yeah, I'm really interested to kind of read the rest of that very early, the Golden Age, and there's I think 3 volumes.
Did you buy them?
I got the first volume of the first so it was like $8. So sure, I'll read that on my iPad.
I'm sick of that guy coming back in the movies. Is there a third one? He better not come back to life. That was so weird because okay, spoilers for the second Wonder Woman movie. Her whole thing is like, she didn't want people to die. But obviously the ghost of her dead boyfriend is inhabiting some guy who used to be in that body. Where's he at?
Yeah.
If Chris Pine stays in that body, then that person's dead. Checkmate, Wonder Woman.
Why is she dating Captain Kirk?
Checkmate, Wonder Woman. I'm dragging out Chris Pine. Is that Chris Pine?
Yeah.
That's Chris Pine.
Thanks.
Okay.
Do you think Wonder Woman from the chat? Do you think Wonder Woman beats Wordle in 1 or 2 guesses? I think 1 or 2 guesses is luck. She beats it in 3.
I think she is against. I don't think she has time for Wordle. I think she's above it, and she doesn't understand computers. Well, she does in the second movie.
Yeah.
In the first movie, she's very like, what is a car? Or, that.
She's a fast learner.
Yeah. She's like working down at the Smithsonian by the second one. I was like, pop off. That's right down the road. Go see her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good jumping off point for learning more about Wonder Woman. If you said anything wrong, God help you. The DC comic fanatics will be at you.
Yeah.
We're Quickie Wiki what? We're not Quickie Wiki.
Longy wongy. We're not longy wong.
I was gonna say we're not Quickie Wiki accurate.
Oh yeah. Quickie Wiki what?
Yeah, exactly. We're asking what?
Yeah.
Well, great articles. It's fun being back.
Yeah.
Thank you for teaching me about the origins of Wonder Woman.
Wow. And I know the Tamagotchi effect now too.
And now you can appreciate my Tamagotchi collection, and I will show them all to you, and you will listen.
I'm worried that I'm going to get emotionally attached to him, so I'm going to keep my distance.
Well, this was a hoot. You have any last words? Any final thoughts? Last words is too daunting.
Yeah, that's I'm not.
Sam
What do you think I am? A Tamagotchi? One of your Tamagotchis that you're going to kill?
I don't know. I got to clean up your poop and feed you as well. That was in the marriage vows.
Yeah.
Final thoughts?
Nope.
Well,
happy Pride and
happy Pride. As usual, all this information came from the wikis, but there is tons more info out there about these topics. Go check them out. And thank you for listening to Quickie Wiki What. It's great to be back. We're going to start doing this again Monday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern time zone. Also on Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. Once again, you can check out the VOD of this episode on YouTube as well as the audio wherever you get your podcasts. We will be streaming next week's episode live again here on twitch.tv/halfmoonjoe. So we'll see you then with more wiki articles to discuss. Farewell. Bye.
Bye.